Since late spring, unionized writers and actors have been striking to fight management greed and protect their livelihoods. Justin Wolters, a Smart TV General chairperson who has also worked as a professional actor, shared his unique perspective on what this fight is all about.
So I grew up, my dad telling me stories about being on the picket lines. I stood on the picket lines at 2 years old. He worked out of the steel mills, and you hear those stories and they're reinforced over the years. I actually was on the acting side, so on that side of the camera for, I'd say 7 years. I dabbled quite a bit. Did a little bit of the filmmaking stuff too. I still have that love for filmmaking, that love for being in front of the camera, and I got love for the union too. The struggle for union rights and workers' rights is pretty universal. We want to think this is a billionaires versus millionaires war. We see Bryan Cranston in front of the camera advocating, but if you realize that he's champion for all the members out there, more than 50% of all the SAG-AFTRA members make less than $26,000 a year, which puts them under the threshold to be able to have health insurance. That's a big deal. And so you take that into account and you realize that how is that struggle that much different than any other workers' struggle? And that's a big issue going everywhere. So if you understand that workers' rights, whether you're an actor or you're a boilermaker, you work at the docks, or you're a railroader, sheet metal. If you're any of these different crafts, and if you realize that we're all struggling for the same things and we're not trying to hold each other back and we all support each other. And really, if you think about it, we're all AFL-CIO too, so we're under the same umbrella. We can all prop each other up. The problem is that part of the threats with the actors is they're going to do that because they already own their likeness. Part of the problem with the writers is that we're going to start using artificial intelligence to write these stories. The artificial intelligence it's coming. We're on the precipice. I've seen people say it. We're like at our Oppenheimer moment where we know that we're creating something that's going to be devastating someday. This is a sincere problem. And if we start letting that happen on one industry, it's going to happen on all of them. It's only a matter of time before the rail industry, sheet metal, and they start using math and using artificial intelligence and using these things. So trying to have this narrative out there that they're all millionaires and then they just want to be bigger millionaires, it's disingenuous. And that's what the corporations need you to think this is, because they need us to fight with each other. It's the argument of the crabs in the pot. If one single crab is in a pot, it could crawl out. But if you put enough of them in there, they start pulling each other back down. And they always want to make sure we do that to each other. So what's just as universal as worker rights is corporate greed. The ultimate end game, realistic, it's try to do the most amount with the least amount. And we call it operating ratios on the railroad, but what it is it can't be that simple. It can't just be the goal of all capitalism is to eventually everything become autonomous. That can't be it. If that's the case, then we're on the wrong path on a scale that we couldn't imagine.
You could support the striking workers by joining SAG-AFTRA or WGA picket lines near you. Visit each union strike website to find other ways to support your brothers and sisters.